This is like air, man. Like, I love this. Like, Keith is just talking basketball and his face is just bling. And I'm like, let's go.
Oh, that's just me on like 5 o'clock on a Tuesday.
We are live. Sean Murphy, man. It's so good to say that again.
Keith, you don't remember all the effects?
Oh, I remember them.
I love it, man. I remember.
I even got some like
I'll live for it.
I even got some soundboard like sound effects queued up.
Go fuck yourself.
Let's go.
Anyway, welcome to What We're Pistons Table Talk, our special over-under edition. For those of you that might not remember last year, this is technically the 12th annual version of this over-under on the by the Pistons forums, but this is the second annual one being done with What We're Pistons. I am one of your hosts, Sean Murphy. To the left is the man, the myth, the legend, my boy, a tall glass of Detroit Kool-Aid. Also joining us is also right down there, a man who is one of the most intelligent basketball minds I've ever met. He's an encyclopedia when it comes to the game of basketball, especially 70s, 80s, 90s basketball. Like this guy is insane. I love talking hoops with him. He also has an incredible pod of his own where he's been able to interview great basketball legends such as what's the name of that guy who played for the Pistons at one point? Keith, refresh my mind.
That Isaiah Thomas guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that Isaiah Thomas guy.
Maybe I've heard of him once or twice.
Yeah, exactly. I had to give you the opportunity to humble brag about that. But Keith Black Trudeau, good to see you. What up, though? That's good. Keith Black Trudeau. What up, though? I like that. I'm gonna save that for next time. Let's just start over. No, I'm kidding. But JD is also joining us, bringing us the over-under competition. JD, thanks so much again for putting this together.
You're welcome.
And letting us take part in it.
All right.
Yeah, JD, I appreciate this, man. This has been something that even before we brought it to the live, like everybody's been able to kind of within this kind of Pistons Forum community has been able to take part in. And I feel like at the beginning of some of these seasons, it really started to kind of bring the community together. It's amazing to see how it's flourished with the proliferation of like social media. And I'm glad that you take your time to actually put this stuff together. Like I said, we haven't done one of these streams in a long time. And I am glad. I guess the people are glad too. Shout out D Knight. Shout out to you guys. We're gonna do this again. So we have a hard close at 8 tonight, but JD and I are gonna be working behind the scenes. Sean and I will be working behind the scenes to see the future dates where we can bring more of this over-under competition, table talks, and more content. Kool-Aid and Murph, what up? That it's coming to the channel, and we're excited to be able to get this thing going. What's good, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say, man, if you like the content here, be sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of content come from World War Pistons. Also, be sure you're following all of the guys here on X. My guy Detroit Kool-Aid on X. Keith, what's your handle on X?
Charlottean, CHARLOTTEAN 28 is the handle. For anyone interested, the podcast that I co-host with Mike Payton is called Bad Boys and Beyond. We do a weekly feature. It's a focus on NBA history with the Detroit Pistons specific. Tomorrow we're actually doing a feature on Dave Bing, which is, if for nothing else, you may be interested to know he had a Hall of Fame career playing with one eye. How he accomplished that, we will get into that tomorrow.
Wow,
that's a pretty badass statement.
That is interesting. I did not know that.
Out. And JD, where can people find you on X?
On X. Or Twitter.
Yes, I have to point out.
I can't go to X just yet. I'm getting there, but not yet. So I am still called JD with a small S after it. Sports Tweets. So still tweets. Sorry.
So it will eventually be switched to Sports X's.
Sports X.
Yeah. Yeah, that will roll off the tongue just great. But gentlemen, without further ado,
go ahead.
We don't have a whole lot of time. Oh, believe me, you're gonna get a whole lot of making up for that. We're not gonna be able to do a ton today since we got to get through our itinerary. But believe me, there's gonna be plenty of shenanigans for ye and all of these. So with that, JD, let's get this party started, shall we?
All right. Are you bringing up the screen? Yes, you are.
By the way,
so some of you already know.
Before we start, I just want to take a quick second and reminisce. You remember last year when we did this competition, how positive and uplifted a lot of us were? And then the season that ultimately was. I mean, I would imagine there's going to be some form of like, well, you guys did not do good last year and you're over under guessing. But I just wanted to point out that irony. It's not going to be the same this year, though. The positivity is actually going to be followed through. This is the year, guys.
This okay. So you're betting a lot of overs then. I'm going to guess at that. But
I plead the fifth. No,
I will say this. I've run, this is my 12th year coming up with this contest, setting the lines, setting the categories, and I play in the contest, and I don't think I've even come close to winning. So, and maybe because I'm a little more optimistic than others, but hopefully this year a lot of overs will hit, and it'll be an even more fun contest when they hit.
Well, Twitter will tell you that after 2 games, I mean, the season's
I can
over.
jump into. KD. Go ahead. Yeah, after 12 games, we just need Cade. Stay healthy, and it'll be a much more fun contest. But I'm going. Hopefully, I can switch into the rules. The next slide. Quick, brief rules. And you can find all this out at the Detroit Pistons forum. The rules will be up there. I'm going to put the contest up here as soon as we get off here, and you have up until tip-off next Wednesday to make your picks. And once again, just like last year, the winner is going to get 2 complimentary nosebleed seats to a Pistons game the following season. Someday, maybe we'll move you down to mezzanine. Courtside ain't ever happening. But we'll get you there. You're going to see the Pistons, and they're going to be fun to watch. So it's something to play for. If you haven't read the rules while I was talking, too bad. Check out the website. You can find out more there. We're going to get right into the questions. Right. And I will say, like always, there is one really obvious, or should be really obvious, question that you get right. If you get it wrong, then you get negative 20 points. And then there's also a tiebreaker and a bonus question at the end. Without further ado, here is question number 1. It's kind of the standard one. Pistons wins. And if you want to give your impressions, or I can just show you the line, and you can say what you think about the line then. We can, since we're on a time schedule, I'll just go to the line. So I'm a little above Vegas, and I think I'm a little below the Brandon level. The Kool-Aid level. What do you guys think?
I love your optimism, first of all. So logistically speaking, for this to hit on the over, they would have to have a win jump of about 15 games.
Right.
Now, granted, you could see with the roster being fully healthy, I would argue if the roster was fully healthy last season, they would have won more than 17 games. That's a whole other conversation for a different day. But let me just say this. If the Pistons really wanted to win games last season, they could have found a way. But, going into this season, I do think with Cade's return, I do think, especially, like once he actually gets some rhythm going and gets back on the court and, has some regular season touches, I think, he's going to look good, assuming he's healthy. I mean, we've seen what he can do in, even in the 12 games he did play in his sophomore season, there were moments where he looked elite. If he can just stretch the ball beyond the 3-point line, he can be an all-star like almost right away. So, with all that, with all that being said, you know what, the optimism may bite me here. I'm going to go with over. I do think that they can get above 30 wins. I think 32 is a pretty feasible number if I'm being real with you. But, again, a lot of like everything would have to go right, and this team would have to find a rhythm and kind of their rotation and who they want to play and who they want to be. They'd have to find that pretty quickly. I think they can. It's just, it's going to be a challenge.
Where do you stand, Keith?
So this might be the most difficult over-under for Piston wins that I maybe have ever seen, simply because we don't have anything to go off of.
Yep.
I'm just going to come out and say it. They gave up on the season after 12 games last year. As soon as Cade Cunningham got shut down for the year, it was essentially let's roll the ball out and get our young players.
Oh, Keith, no, there was no 7'5" incentive for them to not play for last season. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Sean. You're not going to Jedi mind trick me into believing that Jalen Duren didn't come off the bench behind James Wiseman for a handful of games last year. There's nothing more blatant than that. I'm sorry. So look, we don't really know what the ceiling for the talent on this team is collectively because we haven't seen it together. And look, it's a very young team. Yes, you do anticipate Cade Cunningham, just if he has a healthy season, is going to drag this team up by himself. But even so, it is still a very young team. So we don't know. Asar Thompson is suddenly looking like he's going to be in the starting lineup. Jaden Ivey looks like he's going to at least start the season coming off the bench. Without wasting too much more time, I am just going to flip a coin in my head and say over because I want to be optimistic here. But I honestly, this team is a mystery to me. I have to see it in regular season action, at least for a week or two to get a gauge on what they're capable of.
Yeah.
All right. Kool-Aid, there's no chance you're not going to be over, right? I mean, I can't picture Kool-Aid just being like under.
All right. Well, here's the next the X factor right here.
Yeah, for me with the win total, I know a lot of people don't know what to go off of based on last year, but I feel like this team has a certain type of recipe that's similar to the squad that won 27 games in Cade Cunningham's rookie year. I believe that this squad this year, if they had a chemistry to them, is actually a little bit better, just a little bit better than that 27 win team. And that's kind of what has me optimistic. Going into last season, we thought that this was a team that was realistically going to get 30-plus wins. That's what we all believed. That was the recipe. That's what we thought they were set up for. Now you add an Asar Thompson back in, and you still have your Bojan. Like, I'm calling Asar, the more we see him, Jeremy Grant light. You know what I mean? Goodness gracious. Yeah. I have to get the over. I'm definitely going to push the over, though.
You're hitting the over hard. And so this kind of – I'm sorry, I jumped to the next one, but let's start off with you, Brandon, on this one.
This one I'm actually going to say under. I am, but just by a little bit. I was thinking maybe about 68 games, 65 to 68 games for Cade Cunningham.
Now, do you see that as just rest or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
just rest, just like certain back-to-back, certain road trips and things of that nature.
So
I know it's his rookie season. He played 66, 67 games as well. So right now, until I can see him play over that, and I kind of want the Pistons, if they can, to give him a little bit of rest.
So the reason why I'm leaning a little bit more towards the over than I thought I was going to, I'm not sure if you guys, saw any of the data or some of the studies that have come out earlier this week. Adam Silver was kind of teasing to these results kind of all summer, in his conversations about the league, adjusting with load management, kind of started with, with the league saying that the data was inconclusive, but the league actually took a little bit more of a definitive stance over the last week, saying that their studies have shown that there's no conclusive data saying that load management necessarily prevents injuries. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think that teams are still going to do it. I would imagine, especially to start the season, I think it would be wise to not play Cade on back-to-back. So as much as people might not want to hear this, I wouldn't be shocked if Cade sat out, because after the Miami game, they have a back-to-back almost right away, right? Because they go to Charlotte and then they play at home against Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if he sat out against Charlotte so he could play in the home opener. So you know what I mean? But if he shows that he truly is feeling good and at 100% and that he's good to go, I mean, he's the type of guy where he's going to want to be on the basketball court if he can possibly be on the court. Again, I'm just interested to see how the league responds to those experiments and to the data that's now been presented. And I wonder if teams are actually going to back off on them doing more load management. Keith, I'm interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, you hear that, ABC, NBC, TNT, ESPN? There's no correlation at all. We're done with load management.
Yeah, they have nothing to do with it. I'm sure they didn't put any money in that study.
Okay, so this is the over-under that affects all of the other over-unders, right? Not only does the amount of games that Cade Cunningham played affect how the team does in the win-loss column, but it's also going to affect how everyone else performs statistically, how many minutes they get, how many shots they get. And interestingly enough, I think this depends, even if you assume Cade Cunningham doesn't get seriously injured the entire year, you also have to keep in mind if the Pistons are out of it with 3-4 weeks left in the season, he might get shut down anyway. So this is almost linked to how well the Pistons are doing this season, in addition to how healthy Cade Cunningham is. I just think there are too many things that can go wrong here, or that can go backwards here for him. I think him missing 11 games is perfectly feasible, 11, 12, and that's without him getting hurt. So I'm going to take the under here. I'm not too confident in it. I don't want it to see it happen, obviously. There's just too many things in my head that are saying, yeah, Cade Cunningham could definitely be sitting 12 games.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
man.
But don't the no, you're okay. I was just gonna ask like one quick thing. Don't the Knicks own our pick in 2024? Like, I believe we don't have a first round pick of our own this upcoming draft.
The only way they don't have a pick is if they make the playoffs, and I think it's top 18 still. So I think they would have to make the playoffs and like be a top 6 seed. Like they would have to have a very, very good season.
Yep, you're right. Top 18 protected. You're right. My apologies.
All right. This seems to be like the biggest question for me thus far in the preseason. Is Ivy gonna be the sixth man the whole season, or is he, gonna ease his way into the starting lineup? And with the rumors of Burks getting on the trading block, that could affect it if anything's happening there, or if it's just smoke. So this is my number for that.
Oh, JD. Goodness, man.
This is the lightning rod for all of Pistons Twitter right now.
Goodness gracious. That's a tough one.
Have you seen that meme where it's like, what's the take you have that has you at this, and it's everyone holding the knife to the guy's neck? So like my take for that, and again, I don't want to minimize people's feelings. I absolutely understand, why we want to see Jaden Ivey in the starting five. I think we put a little too much weight in who's starting and who's not, because in my opinion, at the very least, if you want to see who the coach really wants on the court and who they ultimately trust, it's the five who finish the game. In my opinion, is what matters more. Now with Jaden Ivey, obviously, you look at, the starting five, and a lot of us, myself included, assumed, Cade and Ivey would be that backcourt that starts the season. Asar would come off the bench. But with what Asar brings, defensively, I think there's just too many positives on that side to not have him on the court as much as humanly possible. Honestly, I don't see a world where, I don't see a world where he can't be in the over in this category. I would imagine if he would, though, it would be after the trade deadline, after making some moves to kind of reshape their roster, say like a Bojan trade of some form. So I'm going to go with under, just because it would be later in the season, in my opinion. But I still think he can very much thrive in a sixth man role.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that he could survive in a sixth man role. The thing is, look, obviously everyone wants him to start. Even I want him to start. He had a really, really good rookie season, improved offensively the entire season from beginning to end. Yeah. Did not improve at all as a defender in my estimation. And to me, that's what this is about. I don't, Monty hasn't said anything specifically about Ivy not being a good enough defender. But if you look at every single guard the Pistons have, he's at the bottom defensively. And I think that was a message being sent, not necessarily him coming off the bench, but Asar moving right into the starting lineup because of his defense. Mm-hmm. And look, Monty Williams, everyone complained last year because they lost 65 games because we just rolled the ball out and there was very little accountability. And I don't blame Dwayne Casey for this at all. This is not a shot at him. I just think he was worn down after so many losing seasons. But now we have a head coach coming in that has this big contract, and he's got this really good, really high cost assistant coaching staff, and he's telling people how it is, and fans don't like it. Well, did you want the team to be coached or not? So to me, I think Ivy is going to start more games than this because I think he's going to pull his way into the starting lineup by sheer force of will. I think he's that type of hard worker. You tell him what's demanded of him. I think eventually he's the type of player that will show you the results. So I'm going to take the over on this and be pretty confident, but I think he is going to start the year off the bench.
Yeah, for me personally, Monty had some pretty interesting statements to say about it, and it didn't leave me anyway. It didn't leave me really positively or I guess confidently in either direction. He just kind of stated that offensively, he's seen him grow, and defensively throughout at least preseason and in practice, he's seeing Ivy get better at defending, all 80 feet on the court. But he didn't really state that it's met his standard. And, Keith, I think you said something very, very key. I felt like it was more about what Asar Thompson and the possibility of having, if you look at Asar Thompson and Cade Cunningham standing next to each other and the fact that they can actually play in the backcourt together. I love Jaden Ivey, but that's crazy. That's crazy.
That just has a higher ceiling, at least to start the season.
Yeah, at least defensively, because they both can get after it. And it's like he mentioned about Asar Thompson being able to defend as well as people who can bring the ball up the court, defend the best person and bring the ball up the court. So Cade Cunningham, his stress is reduced. His usage on both ends of the court is reduced a lot. And so it's like, if that's something that they're leaning towards, I could see this becoming something of an under, but I'm going to hit that over. Just like you said, Ivy is just mentally, he's just a different type of player. He's one that I think can accept the bench role, very mature, married, kid. He said he cut his hair and everything. He's just in a completely different, emotional space, it seems, than what I saw of a player last year who was a rookie trying to learn the NBA. He seems to be much more balanced. And I think that actually is better for him and his chances of being able to start and being able to kind of take hold of that. And Monty did say, he sees the improvement, but obviously we have to be able to see that. I got to go with the over on this one. I got to do the over.
All right.
But ultimately, it's not this postpartum for his career from the beginning of the season just because he's coming off the bench. The amount of talented and Hall of Fame players who have come off the bench, let alone at the beginning of their careers, is astronomical. But go ahead, JD.
No, I was just thinking about, I'm not sure, but I believe in his second year, James Harden was still coming off the bench, or guys like that, and thriving in that role. So it's interesting. Anyway, next one. This one's for you, Brandon.
Ooh, I love man. Come on. I cover stocks. Ooh. You know what? I kind of wanted to see him hit 3 stocks per game. I'm going to do the over because of just how active he is. I think he's going to get at least 1 steal a game just from playing defense on his player, and then another steal a game just from being active in the passing lane, diving on the floor and things like that. And then blocks, if he's not at least at 0.5 blocks per game, I will be slightly disappointed, man. Slightly disappointed. I got to hit the over.
I was like, are we asking how many stocks Asar is gonna invest in this season? Is that it's
sorry, yeah. For those who may not know, that's steals and blocks.
Yep.
Steals plus blocks, and this is the average.
I'm hammering the over with I'm hammering the over like I'm at a freaking carnival and you're trying to use those giant cartoon hammers to hit the bell at the top. That's how I'm hammering the over on this one. He's just going to be all over the court. He's going to be all defensive team in year 3.
JD, is this one the gimme?
I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it isn't.
I mean,
but I will
better
say
be the gimme.
I was part of it.
Everybody's saying the over, bro, in the comments. Everyone.
Part of
over,
my number
over.
is still that I'm not 100% sure exactly how many minutes per game he's going to get. Is if he's definitely going to be that starter. If he's definitely going to be in that like 25 to 30 minute range, or is he going to be 20 to 25? But this might not be my gimme, but it might be a gimme.
Yeah.
Next
he reminds me. I know Brandon has his comparison. He reminds me a lot of Andre Iguodala, just from his skills. But he has to play in an actual game for me to really put that onto the universe. But just from a skills perspective and from a physique and motor perspective, there's just so much Andre Iguodala into what he does.
You can ask Kool-Aid Keith. I've been preaching that from the mountaintops ever since the draft.
All right, next one. Minutes per game for Killian.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh man.
I feel like kombucha girl right now, bro. Like, okay, wait. Well, yeah.
So, all right. I'll jump out on a limb. I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to go with over. But the reason why is because, in my opinion, if you look at the way that they've been talking about Killian, if you look at the actions and the things that have transpired with Killian throughout this offseason, i.e. the trade conversations that have happened, I could foresee Killian having an elevated role towards the beginning of the season to perhaps elevate his trade stock, because, Monty was talking about how, Killian should be shooting to be a starting point guard. And I absolutely agree. But guys, in what world is Killian Hayes going to be a starting point guard in Detroit if he's playing with Cade Cunningham? Especially with Asar Thompson, in that backcourt as well. Like if Killian's going to be shooting to be a starting point guard, that's just not going to be in the 3-1-3. It's just not. So, I could foresee Killian, and granted, I could still see him having a role in being a backup point guard, especially if he comes to prove himself. But at the same time, if he becomes an asset that you actually could get some valuable pieces in return that could better complement the core that you have, you would be kind of dumb not to take it, especially with the amount of guards that you do already have in your core that you believe in, right? So I'm going to go with over, but not quite for the reason of him being in Detroit for the long term, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so I am not going to be, because prior to preseason, everyone would be saying under, in a comfortable under. I think we're only talking about this because he's played so well in preseason. He's played so many minutes. But the fact of the matter is, on a healthy Pistons roster, I don't think that there's a whole lot of minutes for him in the rotation. I think the one chance for him is if Monty starts using him as a backup forward, to be a Sar Thompson light off the bench. That's his one path to playing this many minutes per game, at least to me. I'm going to say the under, but I'm not too confident in it because I think Monty's like for him is genuine, and I think he will try to find ways to get him on the floor.
Yeah, I agree.
Brandon?
Chuck Brewer, he's saying over 16 means Cade is going to be playing off the ball a lot this year. And that's something that Monty was saying. I know when he was talking about Cade getting reps off ball, it wasn't necessarily that, he was looking at Killian to start, but he was saying that Killian was definitely the person that was kind of running the point during those times. And they like the way that he defends. They like the way that he passes and whatnot. And I kind of get this feeling that, maybe there is some aspect of a showcase with him or not. Man, dog, this was a tough one, bro. This one's really tough because Monty has just been absolutely gassing Killian Hayes. With unprovoked, no one's even asking him. Omari's direct question about Killian Hayes was because for the first 3 days of training camp, he kept bringing up Killian Hayes by himself, Monty Williams. And he was like, why do you keep doing this effectively? And he was just like, well, because he's this playmaker. He's playing defense. He's running the plays effectively. So part of me feels like I could see him getting 17, 18 minutes a game. I could see him just kind of getting over that. But that is a big chunk of minutes when you start talking about guys like Marcus Sasser, even that I don't know if he's behind him or ahead of him. Monte Morris, Jaden Ivey, Thompson, if he's handling the rock at all. Man.
Dwayne.
I got to go slightly under. Slightly under, yeah.
Next up. Something I want to see. I want to see a rim get bent or some glass getting shattered. And if anybody can do it on our team, this is the guy.
All right, this is the gimme, right? This is the gimme because I really don't I really don't want to crush any dreams here. I want to preface with that. However, Shaquille O'Neal really made some scientists go to work because the amount of force that he brought on those rims, they literally had to strengthen them because of Shaquille O'Neal. So I think it's gotten to a point where it would be very, very hard for that to happen again. And when it does happen, it's like a super rare. I'm going to go with under, but if there's anyone that can do it, it'd be Duran, without a doubt.
Yeah, I
hope I'm wrong. I want to be
necessarily break, but it could even be like a little bent. You got to level it back out.
I mean, you use wrecked. That doesn't sound like a little tear.
JD, much like you, I also miss 1993, but the fact of the matter is, backboards have improved significantly since then. I want to say I think Zion has kind of damaged a rim at some point, but Jalen Duran is not Zion Williamson. He does. No one on planet Earth is Zion Williamson. So yeah, as much as I'd like to see this, this is the gimme. This is the under.
If you've been on social media at all this summer, you know that Zion's been wrecking more than rims. But anyway,
all right.
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
Players traded by Troy.
I'm getting that cartoon hammer back out. I'm sorry. I'm hammering the over. I realistically, I think the reason why the Pistons have been so conservative on making moves over the last couple of seasons is because they've been waiting until they can see all these pieces that they brought in to play around Cade. Because ultimately, the two things you got to figure out this season is Cade the guy, and who's going to be around Cade, right? Like that's ultimately, I mean, that's the direction here, right? Like when we're talking about discipline, development, defense, developing what's going to be the overall skeleton of this team. We have a lot of pieces. We have a lot of talented players. We have a lot of redundant players that play similar positions. Cough, cough, Marvin Bagley, James Wiseman, cough, cough. But at the same time, you also have tradable contracts. You have young players that are, that can potentially be assets, which is, even though I'm not saying that James Wiseman's going to go get you, some massive haul like OG Anunoby or anything, but in the same breath, he has positioned himself to where they can see what they have in house and then move accordingly. So ultimately, by the deadline, I think at least 3 players, being traded is pretty safe. So I'm going to hammer the over on that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, JD, is this by the trade deadline, or is this extend into
everything? All this stuff is what happens in season, except I think I got like a postseason award thing in one of the categories.
Okay, so just the regular 82 games. So for this one, it would be by the trade deadline. Okay,
yeah,
because if we're talking about,
he's trading on draft night, so he won't even touch that. He always does.
Yeah. Definitely for me, man, it's over.
Okay.
Find someone that loves you as much as Troy Weaver loves trading for reclamation projects. So yeah, there's no way that this is not going to be the over. My early favorite is Isaac Okoro from the Cavs. Or look, we've already had Victor Oladipo rumors.
DeAndre Hunter, or is he in the Vegas odds at all?
The Troy Weaver reclamation project season has already started. So yeah, there's nothing stopping this train. We're going way over.
Okay.
Hey, you got some love,
this
JD.
One, huh?
JD and Keith, you guys got some love.
Another forum regular. BIG. So this one, since George really loves when they wear the home whites at home. This one is my Blaha inspired question.
Oh, honey, it's under. I'm so sorry.
Do you know how many teams are going to play whites at home this year?
Huh? How many times they wear?
Oh, I thought this meant Blaha calling them the home whites. Okay, never mind. I read that wrong.
No, that would be way over.
Yeah.
Here's what you got to go under here.
Yeah.
Here's what you got to factor. And I'll try to make this quick because we only have about 10 minutes. First of all, you got the statement jerseys. Those got to have at least some form of schedule, at least like 5 or 6. You got the city edition jerseys. And you also have a good amount of games where they wear the blues now as well. So and they only play about 41 home games. So it's highly possible it's over. I'm just saying from a buy that merch standpoint, it's going to be under.
Under, yeah.
All right.
For everything Sean said.
For all the very dumb reasons Sean is absolutely correct about, yes, this is going to be the under.
All right.
And that's probably a deal with Nike. If we're being real, they probably are show off our jerseys, show off the designs. I
just saw that article and some people getting pissed about it. Some people are they want the retro aspect of it, and the business heads are but they want to sell more jerseys every year. So,
all right. So, yes. Times a Piston is named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Last one by a Piston.
A
little over 2.5 years ago by Sadiq. So, is it going to happen at all this year?
Sadiq!
I could see Cade getting one.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Because so much of the team is geared around Cade Cunningham. So if he has a good, not even a great week, even a good week for him, he's going to dominate the ball so much. Look, I would still say the under, but I wouldn't be terribly confident just because there was only so many players. This makes it sound like there's a million player of the week every year, and there isn't. There's only 30, 20 maybe. I don't know, but there's not that many. So I'm going to say under.
17 of them are going to be Giannis.
17 for Giannis?
Yeah, 17 of them alone will be Giannis probably, but
one for Tatum.
Yeah, screw it. I'll go over. I'll say Cade gets at least one. And you know what? I'd say Ivy has the potential with his explosiveness to have a crazy 2 or 3 game stretch, which could potentially get him in that realm. So I'll say
I totally forgot that Sadiq actually won this. I thought it was, I think Jeremy Grant won one, and I thought that was the last one. I looked it up. Oh my God. Sadiq?
Yeah, that was just a rookie, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Games where Bojan leads or ties the team in shots.
Ooh, I like that line.
Yeah. 18 and a half. Oh, that's JD. You're so good at this, man.
I'm gonna go under.
Under?
I think let me ask a qualifier, even though I think I know the answer already. If he gets traded, do his numbers
just as a Piston.
Okay, then I'm definitely taking the under because I think there's a very good chance he gets stilt by the deadline.
Great point. Under. Yeah, under.
Also, though, I even let's say he's even on the roster. Let's say he's on the roster all 82 games. I would still pick the under because I think with Cade being more in the lineup this year, I think with the overall talent that they have, I don't think it's going to be as centralized around Bojan. I think the ball is going to be distributed a little bit more evenly. So
and essentially,
look, if you have a Sarr and Stewart in the starting lineup, though, that's two.
Bojan's going to be
jacking up guys that are going to have limited shots. Not only Bojan's, I could see Bojan's shots actually going up, but I could also see Jaden Ivey's shots going up because he's going to be playing a lot off the bench. So he'll have competition there.
My only thing is, I know with them saying, with Monty Williams doing with Cade what he did with Devin Booker as well, move him off the ball a little bit more. I could see that being a factor as well. If Cade is in that two guard, that kind of off ball role, then I could see that kind of eating into the points that or the shots that Bojan is getting. I could definitely see that.
All right.
So we probably got time for one more category, and then we can probably continue the rest. Of the
can we do 2? Let's hustle and get
2. Let's hustle.
Yeah, let's do 2. Let's hustle. Yeah, let's do it. 20+ point games for Bergs. I'm hammering the under. I'm gonna be real. I think I've also been hearing like I'm not sure how true this is, but I've been hearing that he's not been looking the greatest in camp. But at the same time, I mean, he's a certified bucket, so I'm not ruling anything out.
Nothing is more misleading than veterans struggling during preseason.
That's valid.
Like the last time I got fooled was with Cliff Robinson when the Pistons first got him and he was in his mid-30s, like 20 years ago.
Uncle
He looked like he had been retired for 5 years. Like he could not play at all. And then the season started and he averaged like 20 points a game for the first.
Bro, you are so right. The season started and he looked like it was Sunday morning rec league, man.
Yeah,
LeBron was literally eating dinner in the preseason.
Yeah, because veterans that know they have their spot, they do that. So I am not going to read into his preseason. But I do think the Pistons are trying to move him. So I'm going to go the under.
Okay. So this will be the next one is the last one. But there are 34 questions plus the bonus question and the tiebreaker in the contest. So when I post this up, you're gonna have to answer some more questions.
Definitely. And we got to come back and make sure we finish the rest of these.
Times Johnny Kane says the full Monty about Monte Morris during a game. So he has to, and he'll be doing the play-by-play. It's got to be during that, not the pregame.
See,
what's the over/under?
Oh,
I mean, if it's 1.5, he's probably gonna do it more. But you know what? I don't even know if he even knows the reference. To be honest with you, I have no clue. So
I'm gonna smash the over.
Yeah. Just because
someone's gonna put it in his ear at some point. And by someone I mean JD is gonna put it into his ear, and then he's gonna say it. I think
he probably has me on mute. I think
I'm gonna just tell him, like, can you just say this? Say it, bro.
I think he has me on mute.
He's a
shout out Johnny.
I'm gonna tell him, bro. Like, Johnny, please say the full Monty just twice tonight for me, please, for our competition.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, this is like he'll do that twice in one night. It won't have to be like the entire season. So like, get the cartoon hammer back out one last time, man.
Twice in one night.
What's that?
Does if he does it twice in one night, does it count towards the over? Or does he have to do it in 2 different games?
During a game.
I will say it still counts.
So twice
each individual one
in 10 minutes.
Unless it's just about one basket. Right. If he just keeps saying it and keeps saying it, it's going crazy.
He's gonna see the forum, and just to get to you, he's just gonna look in the camera and go, the full Monty, the full Monty, the full Monty, the full Monty. But
JD,
guys,
yes, sir.
I appreciate you so much. Listen, we got to get back on and do the rest of these questions, man. Look, the people are interactive. I want to be able to. We'll get together on a time for next week and make sure we get the word out even a little bit more, so we can get even more people in here in the chat. So it's cool to see everybody interactive.
Yeah.
And Sean, do you have any last words before we sign off?
I was just about to say, man, thanks to Keith and JD for joining us on this table talk, and thank you all for joining us. Be sure you subscribe and like the video so you don't miss any of the content coming to the channel, and stay tuned because this season it's going to be our best one yet. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time from another edition of Woodward Pistons Table Talk. Be sure y'all are subscribed.
Definitely. Appreciate you guys for being here. More content is on the way. All right, peace out. Hey, tune in to Woodward Nights. Woodward Nights, man. Peace out. All right.